Morning. I figure I'm going to start this Lambert Eaton mistake syndrome part 1 here. I've had this, I was diagnosed with it in 2013. It's now 2018, so it's been a while. My story, I was very, very active all my life. Raced dirt bikes, fishing, tournaments, mountain biking, pedal bike on the road, road bike, pedal biking. Worked on my feet 12, 13 hours a day as a mechanic, retail, you name it, I was moving. And it started kind of weird for me. I was fishing and I noticed having a hard time, I'd catch a fish and I'd bend down and pull them out of the water or whatever. Little by little, I noticed it was harder to get up. For me, it seemed to hit the knees first. Then I'd reel in a fish and, I'd just be amazed, like, wow, this fish is fighting hard. And you'd swear you were pulling in a 3 or 4 pound bass. And it was like an 11-inch fish. What the heck's going on? Got a little worse. Sore muscles, very, very sore muscles all over. Everything was sore. Like a bad workout or, an extended workout that you pushed yourself. Not a big deal, nothing I haven't had before. I figure shake it off. Well, when it doesn't go away after 2 weeks, start to get a little concerned. Like I said, mine started with the knees. There were times I'd be going down steps and my knee would just give out, flop on my face, up the steps, getting in and out of like the car, in and out of the tub. You would slip, your knee would buckle, you were sore. I go out for a bike ride. I noticed just exerting myself very little, even going on a bike ride, it was getting hard to breathe. Muscles were still sore. So I thought I had Lyme disease. Always outside in the woods, thought maybe I got whacked with a tick. Got all the Lyme disease tests done, all the stuff for that, nothing. Got the Western blot, Western blot test done. That was fine. Had no idea. Doc said, well, maybe you're getting arthritis. Didn't make sense, but whatever. So she sent me to a doctor, checked me for arthritis, whatever. No, you don't got arthritis. So this time it's starting to get worse. I'm going into work, walking across the store when I worked retail. Boom, I just start to fall down. There was getting harder to get up, harder to lift things. Muscles were locking up at this point. So I did some research on the web and, I came up with either two things, Lambert Eaton or myasthenia gravis, which most of them are the same. Most of the symptoms are the same, but not all. I asked my doctor to get me to a neurologist to do this test for LEMS, for LEMS, and, they were hesitant, but I finally got an appointment, and that's it. He confirmed LEMS, and we started on Prednisone treatment, and that's how it started for me. Before we got on the Prednisone, it was immediately over to, an oncologist, chest CT scan done, all kind of blood work get done. They immediately look for small cell lung cancer or some kind of cancer. My blood work's perfect, lymphs, whites, reds, everything was okay. So, it put a scare into me. Life definitely changed in that instant. I was already into it well over a year and a half, getting very weak. Life was destroyed. There was no more bike riding. There was no more fishing in the boat. A lot of things there was no more of. I used to do a lot of sports photography on the weekends. Can't, walk that far now. Can't bobble up and down with the camera to get the shots like you need, so that put that out. And the first treatment they started me on was prednisone, like 60 milligrams twice a day. I was really jacked up on it. And, oh boy, I was feeling great, skipping up and down the steps for a couple of weeks, thought everything was cool. And like, wow, man, if I can be fixed for $7 worth of prednisone a month, this is a pretty cool little deal. I can live with this. Now, 6 months later, guess what? Prednisone doesn't do anything anymore. And you can't just stop it. So now you're on a taper down. And you still got no answers. So they give you, or they offer you, immunosuppressants. Rituxan, Imuran, and Celsep. These are nasty creatures, boys and girls. These are things you really don't want to get into unless you need it, because what they want to try to do is suppress the immune system. I declined all that kind of stuff, and the guy's like, well, we'll try IVIG. I had to wait a while to get approved for IVIG, even with the insurance. And IVIG was 1 week, a month, 4 hours a day infusion. So you would take a gallon of water with you, go sit in a chair. They feed you a crap load of Tylenol because you're going to get a load of headaches. And you start pumping this crap in your arm for 3.5 to 4 hours. And it's supposed to help you and make you stronger. Well, another 1.5 years went by of me doing that. It did nothing for me. Finally, I got in touch with Jacobs Pharmaceutical, Kathy, Alice, A-L-L-E-S or A-L-E-S, Kathy. And that's where a lot of things happen. They get you on 3,4-DAP. See if they have it listed here. But anyway, 3,4-DAP is what they want to get you on. And I had to go to a different neurologist because my local neurologist did not have 3,4-DAP or connections or was in the program. So I went down to Hershey Medical Center to Dr. Zachary Simmons, and we got on the 3,4-DAP. Very slow process. At this time, I applied for disability. There was no way I was going to be able to do my job. I was confirmed by 2 doctors to have Lambert Eaton syndrome. Disability was no big deal. Paperwork went right through. I did it online. Bang. Only thing that sucks about disability, you make about 1/4 the income you made when you were actually out working. So, yeah, you don't make much. What I've learned since 2013 is to trust yourself. Be wary of these doctors. Get 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th opinions. Do your research. What I've also learned is since so far I don't have any cancer, crossing my fingers, it's now considered an immune system type deficiency, in a sense. They put it in the immune system, autoimmune classification now. One thing with the autoimmune system is now you got to put it into a diet plan. And this is something I learned early on. Once Lambert Eaton gets to a certain point, you'll continue to get worse unless you get treatment, of course. But it got to a certain point, and I got put on a 3,4-DAP, and I also take liquid mestinon. So the 3,4-DAP does what it needs to do, and then the mestinon kind of extends its time, I guess, if you want to put it that way. What I've learned is diet is a big factor in Lambert Eaton syndrome, on how you feel, what time you take your medicine, what time you eat. Heat is also a big factor. Anytime it's like over 74 or 75 outside, you get very weak. You take a warm shower, you get very weak. Your house is warm, you get very weak, whether you take your medicine or not. I've learned in the beginning, when I was on that IVIG, it was a year and a half of hell before I got on the 3,4-DAP. I would actually just wake up, crab crawl down the steps, go to the bathroom, try to get a quick shower, and just sit on the couch all day staring at the TV because I couldn't move. I would choke on water, choke on mashed potatoes, choke on stinking oatmeal. I went from 197 pounds down to 135 pounds. I was taking 1 can of soup a day and running it through the blender, and that was my nutrition, that and water. Yeah, I was really, really going downhill. Hard time breathing, sitting around all day with the O2, oxygen pulse ox thing on my finger, just staring at my O2, making sure I was okay. Running to the ER every 2 or 3 days because I couldn't breathe. And this was all before I got on the 3,4-DAP. And all you would get told is, well, it's your syndrome. There's nothing you could do. So this is going to conclude part 1 till I take more medicine because I'm starting to get out of breath here. And after I take medicine, we'll jump on to part 2.